Welcome. This is the tale of Lakam. I'm Kishaya.
I'm Natalie.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Malia. And we're going to be reading our story on the tale of Lakam and the tale of Kokoro and her adventures and dismantling today. Yes.
All right, Act 1. Years before everything went awry, Satan City had been a place where people lived in a lush forest city deeply connected with lively nature. The practices were deeply connected with the fact that they walked with 3 eyes open, 2 for the present, 1 for the uncertain, shimmering threads of the future. The third was supposed to keep everyone grounded. It served as a reminder that fate was a path walked together, not dictated by gods or tyrants. But futures are fragile things, with multiple paths it could take. All it takes is one wrong choice, one crack in the pattern, one betrayal. And the betrayal came wrapped in ash. Its unraveling came after the royal family of Satan began dying one by one after taking in Magnus, an outsider, all under unusual circumstances. No one questioned Magnus's rise to power, not because the people wanted him, but because no one else was left. He was a descendant of outcasts from Lakam, a man who worshipped Etna, the volcano god. Everyone else feared. His third eye, it saw things, yes, but twisted, warped. Every vision he proclaimed dragged the city further from what it once had been. He said Etna had chosen him. He said the ash was holy, and the people believed him, trusted him.
When Etna ruptured, the sky turned the color of old bruises, and Magnus stood at the center of all. Mouth open like he was tasting the end of the world. The ash didn't just fall, it invaded. It settled on skin, hardened, crawled beneath the eyelids, and crystallized the third eyes of everyone in the city, nothing more than a graveyard of stiff, rigid creatures. The lush forest itself fell victim as the trees that once boasted a thick brush of foliage swayed calmly to the breath of windy breezes, now sat eerily still, breathless and petrified. Kuroko should have gone rigid there with the rest of them, but she didn't. Her parents fled with her in their arms, running until their lungs burned. They sought refuge past city bounds, making a quaint shack in a prairie, making a home. They sat with her numerous times, sharing tales of their heritage and traditions that they once celebrated openly. They also recalled everything about Magnus, about Etna, and how the herbs he fed the people killed their sight, their judgment, their futures, and how the ash finalized the petrification. They warned her never to return, but every once in a while, her mind would wander. What about the people? What of the forest? What of the family they left behind? The friends? So of course she slowly prepared herself for the journey ahead, back to the place she once called home, Lakam. She slowly gathered supplies as the day to embark on her journey approached, her mother having picked up on her intentions as items around the house had gone missing, and her daughter's angsty demeanor. Knew that what she was going to do and where she was going. Her mother gave her a protection pendant passed down through generations to her family. As a final good luck, they hugged. As her journey began, she was venturing further and further from home, looking for signs of life. Every day getting bolder and bolder, and venturing further towards the low hum of a life unknown to her. Curiosity beat louder than fear in her young, strong heart. Act 2, the journey. The trek back to Lakam felt like peeling back a scar. Kuroko expected ruins. She expected silence. She did not expect what she found. The city has changed. Satan City, the place she heard about in only stories, has come to life, but not the way she envisioned, not the hollow city that once flourished. People still moved through the streets, but slower, stiffer, as though the ash had seeped into their bones, as if their lives had been slowly drained. Their third eyes, once bright and shimmery, were clouded over, crystallized like dead gemstones. Traditions she had grown up hearing stories about were twisted into hollow rituals. Now all she saw was praises to Etna and Magnus. There were new laws, whispered rules that everyone followed without daring to question, and unbeknownst to her, having a third eye was a crime. Kuroko only made the mistake once. She had accidentally tripped over a piece of debris on the ground, causing her to fall. The wind from her fall caused her hood from her cloak to uncover her eye and her much brighter features. The way the crowd recoiled, the way fingers pointed and lips whispered accusations, it made her feel sick and ashamed. They looked at her like she was diseased, like she was dangerous. For the first time, Kuroko felt the sting of being an outcast. She got up and scurried as if she would get chased for the upteenth time. She stumbled upon what seemed a hidden hut, finding it untouched, almost as if no one had lived there for months, possibly years. Finding what seemed to be parchments of plans and other things, she also stumbled upon much more than just plans, but history. Time went as she dug deeper into the city history, into the raw under its surface. She found threads, visions warped by Magnus, herbs that fogged minds, rituals designed to suffocate free will. The deeper she went, the clearer it became. Magnus hadn't just ruined Lakam Tun. He rebuilt it in his own broken image and helping Etna destroy it.
Act 3. Kokoro resented the judgment she felt from the others whose third eyes were blocked by the ash. The feeling of being an outcast was too much to live with. She knew she had to help the people who had crystallized ash in their third eyes and those who would be judged for not having the ash. She was a woman of action and she was going to challenge Magnus. The traditions of the people of Lakam Tun were expressed through music, dancing, and festivals in the old plaza, but now a cold, blank place of stone that Magnus used to trap his dissenters. Kokoro suddenly found herself cornered by Magnus loyalists in the plaza her parents had told her stories about so long ago, fond stories about her heritage that now seemed lost under Magnus's rule. Magnus appeared before her. He radiated with the power of Etna. Unburdened by the judgment of others, he spun a tale about the land. Magnus tried to convince Kokoro that she should follow the new ways. He said the old ways of allowing people to decide their own fate was too detrimental to Etna and the land. Hearing this, Kokoro knew that she had to lead people of Lakam Tun back to the old ways before Etna blocked their third eye completely. Kokoro got her strength from the power of her third eye. Unburned by the ash, she was prepared and knew she was fighting for her ancestors and their culture that was stripped from the land. It was an intense battle between two rivals fighting for power, one wanting to bring Lakam Tun to an ash-covered world and the other wanting to reinvigorate the land for the people. Kokoro struck first, challenging the mighty Magnus with a fierce agility that was unseen before.
The fight was far from distinguished. It was plagued by a false sense of heroism. To say it was heroic would be far from the truth. It was chaotic without much direction and full of enrage. Kokoro had a feeling that her rage could finally be taken into consideration. Over Lakam Tun, incessant echoes rang out, signifying every future Magnus had stolen. Kokoro didn't defeat Magnus with the assistance of knowledge or any prophecy that would suddenly unleash itself like Etna's explosion. She shoved him into Etna herself. For a split second, she felt relieved, almost convincing herself she'd broken the cycle of treachery. Like everything, it withered away, along with the terror he reigned. But as far as Etna was concerned, her minion's absence was not up for debate. And somehow, some way, Magnus rose from the molten lava, all aglow. Magnus charred and not barred, but instead welcomed. Magnus promised to destroy everything or anyone who would willingly oppose him. Kokoro realized that monsters don't die just because you want them to. They die when you believe they must no longer be able to create more fear. She faced him again, not for herself, but for the people of Lakam Tun, that the land he had tried to petrify and poison, all while trying to harden and break its people's souls. Her anxiousness built as she began to gain the courage to not only find her voice, but also help people find their voice too. She reminded the survivors of all the individuality before Magnus, before Etna blockaded their right to understanding at an ancestral level. Their memories were already fleeting, but a moment of clarity ran deep. It ran deep enough to make them doubt his actions, finally. It ran deep enough to take a stand. Kokoro didn't know if they could avoid the past that bled into the future or if they could pinpoint where their future was headed, but she knew one thing. The fear did not run deep enough to stand any of this anymore.